Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to be going over the new leaked secondary cards for the new chapter approved mission deck. Obviously we don't have the whole picture, but let's break down what we know now. Let's get straight into it. So firstly, let's talk about the kind of categories that I've kind of generally put them in. So we have kill secondaries, action secondaries, objective secondaries, and positional secondaries. These are all, I think, fairly obvious of what they mean. Kill secondaries are about killing your opponent's stuff. Action secondaries are about doing actions, which is, foregoing shooting and charging to be able to do something, usually on a point or somewhere in the battlefield. Then we have objective secondaries, which are to do with objectives. Some of the kill secondaries also have to deal with things on objectives, but they more so about the killing than the objective. Whereas these ones are like your secure no man's land and extend, where it's all it matters is your control over objectives. And then lastly, we have positional secondaries. So these are ones like your behind enemy lines, where it's just about getting units in certain places or holding certain areas of the board. It's kind of like the main kind of stuff there. So from that kind of guide, we have like a little pie chart that I made, which has you have 4 action secondaries, 6 kill secondaries, 4 positional based secondaries, and 5 objective based secondaries. Why I think this is important with the 19 cards that are in the deck, well, that's all that's been shown already anyway, is that you are more likely to pull a kill card than any other card. So just keep that in mind. Like, you need to be potentially a bit more aggressive, or your kill secondary card might be the one that you want to cycle if cycling is still a thing. So just keep that in mind. It's okay, it's a nice visual just to think about, I think, a lot of the time. So yeah, just keep that in mind. But let's get on to the 2 new secondary cards that we have. The first one is Display of Might, and this is if you draw it in the first battle round, you must redraw it. It's not a may. You have to redraw it, and it's scored at the end of your turn. If there are more units from your army than from your opponent's army wholly within no man's land. So obviously this is why it can't be used in the first battle round, because you need more of your units in no man's land than your opponent's. And say, like, if you went first and you pulled this, you could just put 1 unit there. If they didn't have infiltrators or scouts, you would instantly score it, which seems a bit unfair. So they made it so it's the second battle round onwards. Very interesting. Very much benefits units that have armies that have lots of units, but at the same time, it's not the hardest thing because it's at the end of the turn, so you can also kill things. So it kind of gives you the opportunity to go off and kill things. But it is just a bit of a positional secondary, I suppose. It's positional. Really cool. I actually quite like it. It favors certain armies more than others, but it gives play to a lot of armies. The second new secondary, and the only other new secondary that we have, is Attempting Target. This is back from previous editions and is very similar to how it used to work in previous editions or previous mission packs. So when drawn, your opponent must select 1 objective marker in no man's land to be your Tempting Target objective marker. And then at the end of either player's turn, which means you can hold on to this if you think you're going to hold it at the end of your opponent's turn, which is very unlikely, you score by 5 VP if you control that objective. So again, it's pushing to be a bit more on the aggressive side, because obviously most of the time it's going to be your opponent. If you pull this, your opponent's going to pick the one that's hardest for you to deal with, which is either the one with the most stuff on it or furthest away from you. But at the same time, so this is forcing you, if you know this secondary is in the deck that you can that you have access to, you need to be positioned a bit more aggressively to make sure that if you do pull this, that you can score it or have a potential to score it. But cool, I like stuff that's a bit more interactive. Like, yes, your opponent gets to pick, which is a bit of a bummer, but at the same time, it's still very achievable, and you can set up for it and plan for it, which is really important. So let's get on to the different sets of secondaries and kind of go over what's changed with the different secondaries. So first we're going to go over the kill secondaries. We have no prisoners up first. A couple of tweaks here. One, it can be used as fixed. We're going to go over all the fixed cards at the end, so just hold off on the stuff about fixed specifically. But it's big that it can be fixed. And so it's the same as it was. For every unit you kill, you get 2 VP, up to 5. Notably, for tactical, it's still just any units, but for fixed, it's specifically bodyguard and non-character units. So you don't get the double up if you take it as fixed for the bodyguard unit and the character itself. You only get 1 for just killing the bodyguard. You don't actually have to kill the character at all to get the 2 points, but you don't get points for killing characters if you take it fixed. Really interesting and subtle change there, but it's quite important. Overwhelming force is unchanged, 3 VP up to 5 for killing a unit off an objective. That's a unit that started a turn on that objective. Cull the Horde has been tweaked. It's not super different, but it is worth noting. It is now, each time an enemy infantry unit with a starting strength of 13 plus, including attached units now. So this is now including those character units that you can attach, is destroyed. You get 5 VP. So the 13 is a weird number. It just weirdly hits certain things, especially like in Astra Militarum with the like Scion units that can be 15s with the command squad attached, and some other like really odd use cases that were under 20 but above like 12. So this is kind of just to encompass a lot of that stuff. I think the main reason that they changed this is because people were still confused over the ruling that even if you took a 20-man but you only took 19, it still counted for Cull. So this is just a way of getting around that. It kind of clears it up and makes it so, well, yeah, you can, like, unless you're taking a 20-strong unit and only running 12, it's kind of, it solves a lot of that problem there. So I think that's the main reason they've done this. I don't think there's many niche cases otherwise that kind of really affect this. So next we have Assassination. Still can be fixed and tactical. For the fixed though, a nice little change. So you get 4 VP for every character you kill for the fixed version, but it's only 3 VP if it has a wounds characteristic of 3 or less. So that's kind of nice. So it means Genestealer Cult and Adeptus Sororitas don't really just auto just give up maximum. They probably still do this. They still run so many characters, but this is a nice way that you're not giving up. You're not bleeding as many points for the fixed version, which is quite good. But it is still 5 VP for if you kill one of your opponent's characters or if all characters are killed. So still, it hasn't changed for like the majority of time, but for fixed, it's just a little bit different. Marked for Death has gone through a huge change, and I'm all for this one. Marked for Death is, I think, great now as a secondary. For all intents and purposes, it still works exactly the same, but with an extra piece added on. So your opponent still picks 3 units. If you kill one, you get 5 VP. But you also now get to pick 1 unit, and if you kill the unit that you picked, which I believe is like your Omega or Gamma target, you get 2 VP. So like you still get kind of like a bit of an incentive to like push forward and like do something with it, but it's not a dead draw most of the time. Like if you got this on turns 1, 2, and 3 into pretty much any army, they're going to pick the 3 units that you can't interact with, and it's just a dead draw. Whereas now, like, hey, like there's that 1 unit that I need to kill anyway to flip that primary. Cool. Now I'm just getting 2 points for it. That's awesome. Like I think that's a really great way of balancing that secondary, so it's not just constantly a dead draw until late game where, oh, my opponent only has 4 units, so which one don't I have to kill kind of thing. It's a really great balancing piece there, so really, I'm all here for that. I'm really excited to play with that. And then last of the kill secondaries, we have Bring It Down. So this has not changed for fixed. It is still 2 VP each time a monster vehicle is killed. If it's 15 plus, you get an extra 2 VP, and if it's 20 plus, you get an additional 2 VP as well. But for tactical, then this is a huge change. It's not just uncapped at how, like, it was effectively that for tactical as well, right? Now it's just flat 4 VP, which I think is so much better. So often you do this and you're like, oh, I have to put so much effort in just to get 2 VP because you're aiming 2 or 3 units of shooting or a couple of units of melee just to kill that one vehicle, and you get 2 points for it a lot of the time because a lot of vehicles are under 15 wounds. Now you just get 4 VP. So that run is overextended a little bit and you draw Bring It Down. Cool. I now get 4 victory points for actually trying to commit to kill it. Really good stuff. Really, really like that. Really nice balancing act here. I'm a bit nervous that no prisoners can be fixed, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Next we have the objective-based secondaries, okay? So these are the ones where you kind of like need to be on an objective or in like a certain positional place. Really, display mark should probably be in the positional, not in the objectives, but hey, I rushed to get this out, so apologies that it's not in the correct spot. So objective secondaries, we have Secure No Man's Land. Nothing's changed there. Storm Hostile objective. I don't believe anything's changed there. Still can redraw it round 1, which is nice. Then we have the Display of Might, which is, just have more things in No Man's Land than your opponent. Extend battle lines is now dropped to 4 VP, and still 2 VP if you only have one unit left alive, but so you control one. Also, if you don't control your home, you can just get 2 VPs. That's quite nice. That's quite nice. And then attempting target is also here, and it's worth 5 VP. So a lot of these are about flipping your opponent's primary a lot of the time. Like secure and extend are still the same, that you're just trying to hold your own primary a lot of the time. Maybe throwing something onto the center. But storm and attempting are often going to be very similar, and often, like, if you draw them at the same time, like, cool, I get to do both of these, and you'll get like a 9-point turn, which can be pretty big, to be fair. So kind of an interesting setup you can have there. But all in all, like, not a whole lot's changed. A couple of like little tweaks. Having another objective based card is nice because you already are always incentivized to flip your opponent's primary. So this way it can be a nice way of getting extra benefits. And it also puts some really interesting play into attempting target, where you might not actually choose your expansion. You might choose the center just to force your opponent to put something onto it, but then they're not flipping your primary and scoring 5 points, so which is often like an 8 to 10 point swing, 12-point swing. So it's really interesting, like the mind games and the play patterns that might come out from having attempting target in the secondary deck. Now we have action secondaries. The biggest glow up here is recover assets. It now completes at the end of your turn, which is so much better than how it was. It is absolutely just brilliant. The downside is, if you're doing it with 3 units, one in each zone, your deployment, no man's land, and your opponents, it's only with 5 points now, not 6. But I think that's a huge benefit to how it used to work. Now armies like Eldar and the weaker armies of like fragility in the units can now score this consistently, which is really, really important. So that's really nice. Really great glow up here. You're going to consistently be scoring 3 points from this, and then on the odd chance you're going to be able to get 5. Really, really great stuff. Sabotaged, to as much as my knowledge, is completely unchanged. Established Locus is also completely unchanged, and then there is a nice little tweak to Cleanse, whereas if you do 2 objectives, you get 5 points instead of 4. So quite nice. Instead of you used to get 2 per up to 4, now you get 2 for 1 and 5 for 2. So great. That's great for, in my opinion. I think that's a great rate. Like, you're doing to do 2 actions, it costs 2 units. Often that can be like, now you're missing out on a shooting activation or something. So like getting those extra couple of VP can be really, really nice there. Next we have positional secondaries. Again, that might one probably should be here, not on the objective one, but this is just to try and go over them. First we have behind enemy lines, which I believe is not changed at all. Still battle shocked, still unbattle shocked units and in your opponent's deployment zone, and it's wholly within your opponent's deployment zone. We have defend stronghold, which is unchanged, era denial, which is unchanged, and engaged off fronts, which does have another glow up. You now get 1 VP for doing just 2 quarters. So this is great early game, so when you don't want to overextend and push into your opponent's stuff, you can still just get like a victory point for it, which doesn't sound like a lot, but hey, 1 victory point might win the game for you. So like, I'd rather score 1 VP, especially if your other secondary is like a dud, like say you drew this and one of the kill secondaries that aren't, like, you can't achieve that turn, and you're already going to get a CP from one of them, so you might as well get the 1 point here. You're gaining something for basically sacrificing 0. So that's quite nice. So I really, really rate that. Now we get to like the fixable secondaries, the fixed secondary options we have. Okay, so we have no prisoners, assassinate, kill the horde, storm hostile objective, establish locus, cleanse, and bring it down. So we have 4 different kill secondaries that are now all fixable, and all pretty powerful fixed options. I'm assuming it's going to be similar to how it works in Pariah Nexus, that if you take fix, you don't get any extra. You can't discard and get extra CP. And I'm assuming also the catch-up mechanic probably doesn't work for you, but we'll have to wait and see until the next stuff comes out before we really know how that's going to go. But yeah, so the no prisoners alteration and the assassination alteration, so they kind of, if you took both of them together, you don't kind of double up on killing the characters with no prisoners, which is a really nice tweak that they've made there. That's very clever. Kill the Horde hasn't really effectively changed it. Yes, it's what units it encapsulates is a bit larger, but for the most part it's the same. The Bring It Down effectively hasn't changed for taking it as fixed. The one thing that is notable here is like vehicle heavy armies that say you have like 8+ vehicles, you can now get, if you can take no prisoners and bring it down at the same time, you're getting 4 points per vehicle that you're destroying. That's pretty brutal. Like armies like Imperial and Chaos Knights that are taking like the 10+ armatures, that's just like your entire secondary plan now just picked up and put down in a little platter for you, which is pretty brutal. And like they have to use those models because otherwise they're just not playing a game against you. That can be pretty rough to deal with. So stuff like that, I think there's definitely some combos here. And then we have the Storm Hostile, which hasn't changed, Locust, which again hasn't changed, and Cleanse, which is still only 2 VP for 2 and 4 VP for fixed. So you don't get the extra VP that you do in tactical. So there's some like benefits, some things. Obviously your game plan is a lot more rigid, but Cleanse is still a tough one because you need so many units, because you need to, be cleansing yours and often the center objective, which means you're sending the one on your expansion is usually fine, but the one in the center you're often churning through units you'll do it, hopefully flip the primary, cleanse it, and then that unit will probably get shot off the table, and then you're repeating. So you need multiple units to do that, and you need to do it for every turn to get maximum points off this, which is pretty tough. Like a lot of these, like if it's 4 VP and you have 5 turns to do it, that's 20 VP. And that's kind of what you need for it. So they can be pretty tough. Like definitely the upside of the like no prisoners, assassination, stuff like that is definitely better. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm worried that the fixed kill secondaries here are a bit too powerful, especially like bring it down, assassinate, bring it and no prisoner. Like adding no prisoners means if they have a lot of characters or a lot of bring it down, yes, they can just backfield and like stop you from scoring for a couple of times, but then you're going up on primary, and then they still have to play the game at some point, and you're going to be able to get some points. You're still going to probably be getting 20 points for this, even at the worst case, unless your opponent's really just going to backline. But then you're going to get max primary. They're going to get 0 primary, and you also have like total board control. So I'm a bit hesitant. I'm hoping that there's some kind of caveat in there that we haven't found out about yet, about like which ones you can take together, or maybe you can only take one of these with one of the others and fixed, something like that. I'm hoping anyway. It also might be completely fine. Anyway, guys, that is this video. A short little sweet one today. Just wanted to kind of go over this. I was pretty excited to see these, so just wanted to get out there, get it done. And if you're around this weekend, I am going to be streaming through Tactical Chili Wargaming on YouTube. The link for that will be in the video description below. Otherwise, there'll be a video here for what to watch next. See you guys next time.